Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, or yes, it's still morning.
Lost track of time,
Thank you for
Senator.
coming. Last year, OMB Director Vogt directed NIH to significantly change the way it funds grants by requiring half of all its research project grants to be multi-year funded. This would be a seismic shift with devastating consequences for research with no benefit whatsoever. Implementing this change would mean thousands fewer grants for life-saving research, fewer clinical trials to discover new treatments and cures for disease, and ultimately less hope for families who are pleading with us for help. So, Dr. Bhattacharya, I am struggling to understand how increasing the use of multi-year funding was anything but a setback for NIH research, and how many, and there's a very specific question, how many fewer grants did NIH fund as a result of this policy last fiscal year?
Okay, so normally the NIH funds, it just before, say 2020, about 20% of our portfolio was multi-year funded. It sometimes makes scientific sense to do it. For instance, you have a new research.
No, I don't want to get into an analysis. I'm asking how many fewer grants were funded as a result of this policy shift ordered by OMB last year.
I don't have an answer for this.
I do. The answer is that NIH awarded 2,000 fewer grants last year because of this policy.
It's not because of the policy necessarily, right?
It is. That is 2,000 fewer opportunities for breakthroughs, et cetera. The good news is that Congress just rejected that harmful proposal. As the ranking member of the Labor, Health and Human Services Appropriations Subcommittee, I fought to get a provision to prevent the administration from implementing Russ Vogt's multi-year funding scheme, including it's included in the Labor HHS bill. And I'm relieved that we were able to do the same, or do that in the bill that passed the Senate last week. This was common sense, and we shouldn't have had to have it come to that.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the bill, but
at NIH, decisions about science have always been left to scientists, free from political interference. In an agency of over 20,000 employees, historically only 2 have been political appointees. But that has changed under your leadership. As of last July, there were 10 political appointees at NIH, many of whom replaced career civil servants who served decades in those positions. So, Dr. Bhattacharya, how many political appointees are there currently at NIH, and why do you need so many?
I mean, you say 10, I'll take your word, but I
okay.
think, can I ask the question about the need? I mean, I think the key thing to me is to make sure that the grant reviews that we do are not political, as you said.
And so having 5 times as many political appointees as before helps make them less political? I'm not sure that I understand that. But I also want to move on with a minute and 15 seconds left, that I share Senator Murkowski's alarm about the number of NIH Institute and Center Director vacancies. They've left a serious vacuum in critical leadership positions. By my count, there are currently 14 institute director positions that are vacant. Is that correct?
I think it's 15, but yeah.
Okay, 15.
Or 14.
In just 1 year, this administration has fired or pushed out 12 NIH institute directors, nearly half of the agency's leadership. And on top of all of this chaos and tumult, you've changed the process for finding and recruiting the best and brightest leaders to fill these critical director positions. So, Dr. Bhattacharya, is it true that you ended the long-standing practice of including external scientists as part of institute director search committees?
I mean, Senator, I've been working very hard to make sure that the scientists...
Is it true that you ended that long-standing practice?
I mean, we've changed the process so that there's no formal committee because we don't have time for that. What we've done instead is we've informally reached out to external partners, but we've also made sure that scientists at the NIH are the ones that are leading the selection of the new leaders. There's a dozen, I mean, some of the positions, hundreds of people have applied, and we made sure that.
I just want to remind you that the final fiscal year 2026 labor HHS bill that passed the Senate last week requires all institute director search committees to include external scientists and stakeholders with relevant experience. And I'm glad my Republican colleagues in both chambers agreed to making sure that NIH institute directors are the best qualified leaders in their fields.
I share that commitment.